Yes, it's Friday the 21st of April. Welcome everyone to our Fast Friday Blitz stream. It's a number of challenges already. Lavalantula, Troll on a Roll, Ayeste, Aldista. Mule Skinner is 8-3. Mule Skinner, if you can re-challenge me to 5-3, please. Everyone else is on the same page except for Troll in a Roll, who I'm going to let have an exception with his 5+5 challenge. Because it's chess 960, I decided that we'll have a minimum of 5-second increment in the chess 960s, because we're always losing on time in those games. Alright, so Dumb Saint also challenging, but we lost him. There's 5+3. Alright, guys. So we're going to get started in a minute. Sorry for the late start, but the post delivery person was ringing my doorbell like 5 minutes before the stream was supposed to start. So I had to run downstairs and pick something up at the last minute. I was like, why are they doing this right when I have to start the stream? But they wanted to give me money, so I was like, all right, I'll make an exception. It's a strange system. I don't know if other countries have this, but the post person has to bring like a payment instead of like sending it by check or something. It's very, very strange. But Lavalantula, the Troll on a Roll, Ayeste, Aldisto, I guess that's how you pronounce it. Arsenal fan, Richie, Plucro, Dumb Saint, Mule Skinner, re-challenged. Mule Skinner, I guess you were like around where Plucro is now. Alright, Plucro, thanks for joining us. Yeah, we need no excuses. I don't believe in excuses, but I use them all the time. Lavalanche, let's get it started. 5+3. I've been playing a lot of Knight F3 lately in Blitz because I find it easier if you're playing in Blitz tournaments with a lot of quick games or something like that. If you're playing repeated Blitz games, I find it's easier to kind of get into a rhythm if you're playing the same opening. It's a little bit harder when you're mixing up the openings. Speaking of mixing up openings, I will be doing a simul on Sunday. At 6:30 p.m. on Sunday, a 20-player simul. I just found out I have to play chess on Sunday morning, which I'm not really happy about. I thought all my team requirements were finished for the year, but I found out that we have one more match for the Budapest Team Championship, which is much weaker than the Hungarian Team Championship. But that's it. I have to play one more game. I don't know who I'm going to play. It sounds like a weaker team. But so we're going to play a 20 board simul, maybe 22 maximum on Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Yeah. But, you know, Lavalanche, was it you? It was somebody else who played the same line against me the other day. I think it was the same move order, but they played b5. So instead of knight f6, b5, which to me is a strange move, but it's actually theory. Yeah, we had a game b5, castles, bishop b7, when theory says rook e1, but I was unsure, so I ended up playing... What did I end up playing? A3 or something lame? I wouldn't do A3, would I? No. I didn't do A3. What in the world did I play there? Strange. Bishop G2. Oh no, I took on C6. That was it. I took on C6. Okay, so Lavalanche playing this a little more standard line, Scheveningen or Scheveningen style, Scheveningen. And I have played a lot of Scheveningens with black. This is a fast time control, so I don't want to take forever here. I guess we play rook e1 and we try to play for e5. Yeah, this is a game I had against Igor Foigl with black once. This is a very famous line. I'm not sure that this line is actually bad for black, but it's kind of, you have to be very precise. at the time when I played Foigle, I didn't really know. I wasn't sure if it's really 100% okay. I mean, I think I had seen it somewhere, but you know, it's always kind of scary to have your pawns broken up. This was years ago, though, like 18 years ago, probably 20 years ago. A game with Igor. Igor was a very strong international master who moved to the United States from Ukraine. He was GM strength. I don't know if he's still playing. I played him the last time back in like 2014. Basically kind of teaches chess, and he's retired from playing. Maybe he still plays occasionally, but I learned a lot from Igor. He's kind of Trojan-like, great player. So you can have my rook and I'll have yours. What do you think about that? That's this. I don't know where this was first played. Probably in the Soviet Union in the 50s or something. I mean, it's a really old line. Gladys Troll is usually fourth. Now I'm not certain how the rest of the game with Foigle went here. Queen e2 could get my rook trapped. Probably not. Bishop f4. I don't think so. Rook e2, rook e1. This kind of line, if you want to play, you have to know a little bit deeper. I mean, I'm just playing this blitz game. This was a mouse slip, but we'll accept rook e2 as an answer. I actually meant to play rook e1. Chess League TV. Yeah. I guess that rook e2 is not a terrible move. Definitely not my intention there. We'll just have to go with it. Go with the flow. Bishop g5, maybe. I didn't like rook e2 because it blocks my pieces. I mean, it blocks my queen in. You know, that's the problem. I didn't prefer that option. Let's see, knight e4. I'd like a heavy piece ending right about now. But I don't think I have really that option. Well, maybe we do. No, I don't really like this. I don't know what I have here. This mouse slip is going to cost me. I wanted to put my rook on e1, queen on e2, and now I have my queen on e1, rook on e2. Which is not what I really wanted to set up here. All right, so insta moving. The problem is this stupid pawn on b2. It's necessary to protect that. Black is fairly active, despite the bad structure. Chase his bishop away, and we try to get a good outpost for the knight. I guess I could play queen a5 at some point. Nice arrows there. I'm trying to say queen a5. Thank you. There's always the rook sacrifice on e6, but I don't think that's that's quite part of the program here. Arsenal fan Richie said the knight on c3 looks bleak. I agree with you 100%, Arsenal fan. I keep telling you you're a good positional player. You got to realize your limitations here. The knight on c3 looks bleak, but the knight on c4 looks looks a little less bleak. Right? What do you guys think? Rook d4, very active, threatening to win a piece. That is kind of a nasty move. I was watching the Grenke chess tournament yesterday a little bit as far as results go, and I noticed oh no. Oh great, I'm having hallucinations, yeah. Rook takes rook, rook takes rook, bishop c3, rook d8 check. Saves me from any embarrassment there. Do I have c3? No. We might in some circumstances. Interesting ending. He has pretty strong central pawns now after that pawn capture. I could have played f4 to get more control of the center, but I was a little bit cautious about that. I like rook d5 from black. Looks like a good move. Trying to put my pawns on white squares here might entail some risk. Looks like we win a piece now. Obviously, he should take on c2. So, I mean, the whole game was fine for black until the last couple moves. I don't know that we played perfectly, but I think if you look at the analysis board, black was perfectly okay until basically the last couple of moves. The computer thinks I'm a lot better here. I'm a little surprised just at the last moment, I guess. He should have played d3, according to the engine here, with probably a draw. That might be the simplest. I did see it. Alright, troll on a roll, 5+5. Should have checked the opening, though, to see if rook e1 is really the main line. Uoda. I'm a noob that started playing on Monday. Would you analyze one of my losses? We're not really doing like game analysis here today. We're just playing blitz. Let's see. Alright, troll on a roll. Chess 960, I'm going to accept 5-second increment. Bishops need to get out. H3. Play the London system. What do you guys think? It's not a London system. You don't buy it, it's not a London system. It's like a London system. We just don't do bishop f4. We do bishop h2 directly. h3, bishop h2, d4. Looks like a decent queen pawn kind of position here. I think the position is much better suited to playing d4, playing a London system. Well, I want to go back and take a look at that. Now he's not letting me play. Very smart, troll. You're not letting me play d4. We'll see about that. e3 or c3 I like. Maybe first bishop h2. He's going to be quick to play knight c6, huh? c3 takes away my knight's best square. I don't know what's up with me. 1h3. Troll, you did type it in after I played it, right? I think he typed that in after I played it. I didn't like subconsciously see him write that and then play it, did I? Can somebody like verify this for me? He did write 1h3 after I played the move. I'm gonna hope. It's the London system. We're gonna try. But I think that the queen is actually not bad on c1. It's a normal square for the London system for the queen because it guards b2. Of course, he can't play queen b6. He can't play the usual queen b6 for black, attacking b2, so it doesn't really have a point. Oh my gosh. It's alright. It's alright. Don't ask, don't tell policy here. I just thought that it would be more interesting if we sacked the pawn against troll. You know, he's usually having trouble with the clock, and basically we're giving him pawn odds. The problem for me is like not having the queen on its natural square. I think that I can do things that are just not possible. So my d4 pawn is protected. I'm so used to playing d4. It's embarrassing but true. We just gave him a pawn for nothing. Now here, maybe we should seriously take some time to think about the best way to do this. I guess we can kind of save a tempo. Queen c4 is going to be really nasty. I mean, that's self-mate. E takes d, knight takes d4, c3, queen c4 check, knight d3, queen takes d3 check, bishop e2, queen takes e2 mate. Self-mate. Good stuff. All right. Troll, help yourself to a free pawn. This is just going to make life more interesting. Now I have no center, even worse than losing the pawn, right? It's, no, think about it. We have to be optimistic. Think about it as like, my c2 pawn is well protected. Well, think about it in terms, this is stopping the mate with queen c4. Think about it as like we've got pressure on the half-open file, you know, and pressure along the d file. So pressure along these open lines. It's like a classic. I'm saying this with a grain of salt, of course. I mean, f6. Oh, he wants to play for the cheapo. And I wonder about that. It doesn't do anything. I mean, bishop check, take, knight d3. Maybe it doesn't do nothing. Maybe it's better to play knight d3 right away and bring his pieces out for him. I don't really like f6 that much, though. I mean, it helps his bishop, also takes away his knight's best square, and potentially weakens his king a little bit. So this is kind of controversial move. It could be called kind of cheapo. I mean, obviously I'm a pawn down without any kind of real compensation. But we have to play practically. Okay, he supports e5. Very good. I'd like to play c4, but it would leave his knight outposted on d4. So hyper modern opening. We might have f4. I've got to watch out for bishop b6, though. My king isn't entirely safe on that diagonal either. Still, I mean, I assume he's going to castle kingside as well. f6 is a little bit weakening his king position long term. So that's something to think about in a positive way. World Loser said, Banter Blitz. Thank you for the link, World Loser. If you guys can support the channel with PayPal donations, I much appreciate it. And some of you have, and I really want to say thank you. We've got challenges from tons of players. Ayeste, Aldisto, Arsenal fan Richie, Plucro, Mule Skinner, I think is around there. Dumb Saint, World Loser just joined us. Troll and Roll and I tend to get into really bad time pressure in chess 960. It is harder to make the moves in the opening, I think. The position is not just because there's no theory. It's not only about that. It's about the pieces aren't arranged randomly in normal chess. They're put on kind of useful squares, and it's easier to get the pieces in the game with a normal chess setup. But in chess 960, they're kind of hard to coordinate, and it takes a lot of thought to really get the pieces active out of the opening, and coordinate the pieces. So bishop b6. Well, we could certainly play king h1 at some point. I'm leaving his knight on d4 for quite a while here. It's not really hurting anybody at the moment, and I don't want to chase it just for the sake of chasing it. But at the same time, maybe we can't leave it there forever. My bishop is kind of dead on h2. We can play for f4, certainly, when we move the king to h1. I know black playing pretty aggressively. King position safer for white at the moment, I think. Go here. He's taking too much time. Gotta move it. Move it, Troll. He's going to have a strong center. I could play c4, but it just doesn't look right. The black center is going to be pretty imposing with d5, I have to admit. What can we do? It's not going to be an easy life here. Oh man. Bishop e3, d5, and then he has knight a5. To think of something better. I really have to try to break up his center. Okay, f4, e4. This is imposing. Very, very imposing. Now we're actually less time than black here. Great. This is only to give my queen a good square at d1. Draw his knight out of position to a5. Man, black has a good game. Just a clear pawn up. Playing like a monster. My pieces are crawling around on the back rank. I'm afraid to play f4 because of e4 with protected passed pawn. In case you joined late, I just dropped a pawn on move 3. Just gave him a pawn straight up in the center. Because I thought it's normal chess and my queen is on d1. Black is just clearly better. Maybe d5 could become weak though. If we can force that pawn forward, I think things would look up. I don't know what I'm going to do if he does. Knight a5 looks good. Maybe he'll just lose on time randomly. He's just going to lose on time. Nice. Clear advantage. I like knight a5 here. Like, the computer thinks you're up 2 pawns. You could simply play something like queen e6. Okay, the self-pin seems a little strange, but bishop f7. I don't have any kind of compensation. Let's see what the evaluation was after I played d4. Minus 1.1. And then how did it get worse here? Apparently f6 is the best move according to the engine. Wow. It gets worse after bishop h2. What am I supposed to do? How else would I castle here? Wow. My position just gets worse and worse. I thought he should have played knight f5 here. Anyway, guys, just kind of a sideshow. Troll losing on time in a +2 position after I drop a pawn on move 1. Please just ignore that. And let's move on. Normal chess again. And the f6, according to the engine, number 1 move. It's threatening forced mates, so it's kind of a cheapo. Pretty natural, actually. I think weakens the king side a bit, but it may very well be the best move. Alright, let's play main line. A yes stay. Very solid style. Are you a kid? Queen c2. Yesterday I played an IMSA with e3. I wanted to play something a little sharper against this particular opponent. He seems so solid that maybe I can take advantage by playing a sharp opening, and he'll play something kind of like a little bit too solid and get a slightly worse position. I don't know. I used to play the classical Nimzo quite a bit with white, but it's been a while. Yeah, it's like when you go to a bar and the bartender challenges you to a chess game, and then they bet you, like, I bet you can't checkmate me in like 10 moves, you know. Beginners always do that. It's not easy for anybody to crush anyone in chess. I mean, people who are 600 rating points lower than me have a reasonable chance. So chess is not easy. It's not easy to beat anyone unless they play really badly. Queen a5. I did that. No, I never did that. Sorry. No, I did do this later once against Gregory Serper. I think I played knight a6 in a game, and then later did queen a5. Maybe I drew that game somehow, but it was pretty horrendous. This is not a normal move. All right. I was kind of hoping that black wouldn't know theory very, very deeply here, and queen a5 immediately is a totally unknown move to me. Seems like the queen should be exposed and like likely to get attacked. Yeah, I agree, Arsenal fan Richie. You know, the world champion isn't going to beat an amateur in under 20 moves unless the amateur makes a really, really bad move. Which nowadays is becoming less and less common. Everyone seems to be able to play a competent game learning chess online. It's much easier, much more information available than there used to be. This is a very strange queen a5. Seem to be getting a very bad cough. I don't know. I just got over a cold last week, and hopefully it's not going to come back right away. I thought I had allergies, but I'm beginning to question whether allergies cause cough. Knight f3, bishop e3, no. Don't try to hold on to that pawn. We're going to give that pawn back. It's just a matter of like black having to make some small concession to give it back. In this case, his queen on a5 is attacked by the bishop there. If he takes with the queen, that's probably his best. But the queen roving around in the fifth rank, that's quite unusual, actually. Never ever seen anyone play queen a5 in my life. I've probably played hundreds of games from both sides of this opening. And both sides of this variation. We can play a3, force him to take on c3, but then after bishop takes, he's got queen takes pawn, so. e4 is something to consider. But I feel like my position has some weak squares if I do that. So let's not weaken the dark squares like e5 and whatnot. But I feel like this is pretty modest for white, and I haven't really punished. And I don't know, see if I can really punish that queen exposed out on c5. He can play d5 even. I don't really like his chances against Julio Granda Zuniga, but maybe black can get the queen to a sensible position and make this almost equal if he plays well. Pretty modest setup for me. In some lines, you can play more aggressively with e4, but here, again, I didn't like, for example, knight to g4 right away. If you try to play this, That looks kind of bizarre. I'm not really liking getting attacked on f2. And anyway, I have to play e3 to protect my c4 pawn. b6 looks good. He has no wasted time, no unnecessary pawn moves. We can certainly play a3 now. We could opt for development. I'm going to opt to try to get something going here right away. Maybe b4. We've got the long diagonal. It's a little bit like a Queen's Gambit accepted, or something like that. I mean, anytime you play this line of the Nimzo with Queen c2 and d4, c5, d takes c, it always, to me, it feels like it's a kind of reverse Queen's Gambit accepted. He decided to play b6. He could have played more centrally, I think, with like d5 instead. He was probably afraid of having like an isolated pawn type of position, although I'm not sure that would have been forced. And even if it was, probably not so bad for black. Bishop takes f6 is not really that great. With black, I'm usually happy if white would give up his bishop on f6 in this type of position. Now, there's a question about his queen here. Trying to sort of discourage Queen h5. I could have played b4 right away, but then I thought Queen h5 is kind of disturbing me. Rook c8. Now b4. He has a little bit of pressure along the c-file in this kind of structure. I mean, I played this kind of position for black for a long time in the Nimzo too, but this exact position looks like a pretty good version for white. Still, not that easy for me. I don't think I'm going to be castling queenside anytime soon. Get my queen off the c-file, pressure the long diagonal here. Yeah, this looks simple. I mean, I'm probably just going to castle and play rook c1, rook d1 with a slight advantage. Nothing special, nothing fancy. a6 kind of weakening. I don't think he has to play that. Knight a7. Man, that is a sad square for the knight. I did that once against Rafael Leitao. Ironically, in a Queen's Gambit accepted. One of the only Queen's Gambit accepteds I ever played. Now here we can play rook c1, I guess. Oh no. The b6 pawn. a6 was unnecessary. Okay, knight e5. Now what? Queen takes, pawn takes. it's all good. He certainly has the increment down. I'm a little concerned about my king side, to be honest. Wow, he's so fast. Not too many players here are really adept at playing with increment, and I think Ayeste's in the minority. He seems to like playing with increment. I thought queen g5 there was pretty nasty, actually. Wow, that's a mouse slip. Instantly played queen g5. My second mouse slip today. Guess we're just playing for time. I don't like when the game degenerates to that. How can he play such good moves so fast? Wow, I just dropped my pawn for nothing. That's good. Magnus Carlsen yesterday had the same sort of material balance. Actually, Magnus got 3 pawns for an exchange yesterday. I have an idea now. All right, degenerating into a very silly sort of blitz mode there. But I think the opening was good for white. I want to just check that, guys, while we're at it. That other game in the opening. This queen a5 move, what is this? Played by a number of decent players. Lebojevic, Blovstein, Gormley. Interesting. Pretty strange stuff. I've never actually encountered that. Interesting sideline. Alright. Do we follow theory here? Knight c6. Vladimir Volozhin playing for draw against me in the Hungarian Team Championship and getting it. Let's see. Yeah. Alright, queen takes c5, usually played right away. Anyway, it should transpose. Shamkovich versus Ginji Hashvili. So Roman did this. So this is a known variation. Interesting. Slightly better for white. e3. Yeah, so a number of people played d5 there. After e3 instead of b6. I like the idea of playing for d5. That seems like a little more natural. Straight away in the center. The white has a good score. Okay, guys. Let's just check this other opening. I wanted to see that against Lavalantula. What's up with that position? Where I mouse slipped every game now. So rook e1 is bishop f4 is the main move. You know what? Feugl must have played bishop f4 against me. But I didn't understand how it worked at the time. Like, what? What is it with this move? There's a trick here. Rook takes e6. See, I didn't know about that. The trick being bishop takes f4, rook takes c6. And how many people have blundered into this line? Alright, so bishop f4. I'm sure that Feigl played bishop f4 against me. I'm almost 100% sure. In fact, I remember going queen b7 in the aforementioned game. I remember this happening, actually. Somehow I held a draw here with black. But I played rook e1. Rook e2. Rook e2 has a good score. Alfonso Romero Holmes and Ferdinand Hellers have played this move intentionally. I played it by accident. Rook d8. Nobody's played rook d8, the #1 choice of Stockfish. Strange. Patrick Wolf, Gilberto Hernandez. And these guys have played rook knight to d5 and whatnot. So Tn, queen e1. Okay. Anyway, good to know that the opening was kind of standard in that other game. 5+3. Welcome everyone. Please check out my YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. I'm going to upload a new instructional video this weekend, probably tomorrow. I felt good about that d4 game. Felt good to play the white side of a Nimzo. Ayeste. I played queen e7. Speaking of strange queen moves against classical Nimzo. But I played queen e7 on move 4. He's playing queen a5 on move 5. The Dutch. Aldisto. The Dutch is one of my favorite openings to play against. But it's actually not bad. I have a good score, but I think I've been kind of lucky. Alright. What are we going to do? g3. I also play knight to c3. Oftentimes. I don't know what kind of Dutch he wants to play. Stream some video games. Yeah. That's my forte. I like video games, but I don't think I could be quite qualified to... I've beaten some good players in this line. John Curdo, Grandmaster Huang Thong Trong. I think before she was a GM. Someone's talking about what quick e4s are just ugh. How do you get in a quick e4 against the Dutch unless you're playing the Staunton Gambit? I always want to say Steinitz when I say Staunton. I've never played the Staunton Gambit in a serious tournament game, but I played a lot of anti-Dutch with knight to c3, and that's a good point, that playing e4, usually busts the Dutch. Black's threatening e5, so we're going to prevent that from occurring. In this Carlsbad system, the variations with knight h3 are referred to as the Carlsbad for white. One of my anti-Dutch killing systems. Of course, it's no secret to experienced Dutch players. And now he plays c6, very combative. I've never had this position in a tournament game. I think I mostly faced castles there. I had games with Huang Thong Trong and John Curdo where they castled and I just annihilated them with h4, h5. But c6 looks a little bit more cagey in a sense. Black isn't committing to castling, trying to get some counterplay on the other side. But here we have a choice. C4 is not mandatory. I would think that white can play knight c3 and try to play with just the pieces without weakening my position with c4. Anyway, it's just a blitz game, so we'll kind of fly by night here and play, play it by ear and use another colloquialism, another phrase. Fly by night, play it by ear. Just make it up as we're going along. But I like knight c3. Like, why weaken my pawns with c4 here? He's playing really fast. That's just losing, right? Well, it doesn't actually lose, it looks like, directly. But it doesn't help. Maybe it does lose directly. Ali Stowe, a little bit too careless here. A little like me against Troll on a roll. Troll. Thank you again for your stream yesterday. My late great-grandfather uncle's birthday. Great-great-uncle's birthday. He was always smiling. Anna Rudolph. You're aware that Anna Rudolph is Hungarian, right? Just want to make sure that you understand that. Anyway, knight to c5. We're just taking here. No, I know Anna Rudolph, and she's a nice girl. We played before. Last game was pretty tough. I think I was actually lost. Actually, we only played once. I was lost, but I managed to salvage a draw in a lost king and pawn ending or something. Looks like Black is in trouble here. Yeah, I don't know, this pretending to be like celebrity chess girls, I thought that was a friendly troll, but we might start to get imitators who are not so kind. Aldi's just going with the flow, man. He doesn't care that he lost a piece, it's no problem. Just totally like normal. Just a piece, it's no big deal. Bishop h6, knight g4. Everything's okay. Alright. Well, let's see what's up here. I'm gonna try to hold on to my knight for a little while. See if I can't find something interesting. If you're gonna make like jokes, it probably should be someone I don't personally know. Thanks for timing out that user. Bishop h6. Plucro doing a good job moderating here. Not too quick to hit the ban button. I think it was a reasonable call with a 600-second timeout, but I don't think this kind of troll is going to last too long going in that direction. Knight to g4. You could probably ban them straight away. I think it's alright. If they shut up from now on, then it's probably not that bad. This actually... this actually looks kind of dicey for me. Aldi Stowe with the very creative, no problem, you know, I'm down a piece, but I know that I'm going to trap it. I guess I could play knight h5 at some point and make him decimate his own pawn structure. The classic safe king on f7. Usually it's Jennifer Shahadi visiting the stream, but that troll who always pretended to be Jennifer was pretty PC, relatively PC. You know, I don't mind that you're pretending to be a celebrity, but let's try to keep it relatively civil. Queen d2. It's still more healthy than Facebook. I didn't use Facebook at all for like 15 years, but it's kind of hard to avoid it. Queen e5. Aldi Stowe is fast. I gotta say I like knight h5 here. If we're gonna save our knight, that's the way to do it. You know, with check. And with the pawn in the bank. Black's king not looking happy. This is my idea of, oh, to the center. He's actually heading for d7. Now there's a decision to make about where to put my king. It's tempting to castle queenside, but I think it's kind of risky. It's actually safer for me to go castle and king side. It's sort of weird because he can use open files against my king on either side of the board. When I'm talking about my king, it's ironic. It's actually hard to get his king. I mean, what am I going to do? Maybe I should be more direct, though, with rook d1 here. Like most people, I do have a tendency to be a little bit lazy. But maybe we could do castle queenside. Rook c8, rook d5. Oh my gosh. I'm about to lose on time. I had no idea. No idea I was that short of time till I saw the clock running out. I have to turn on the feature that enables it to turn red earlier. Probably a good idea. I know I stopped mid-sentence. I'm so glad he didn't sacrifice the exchange there. I was a little bit concerned about rook takes c3. Aldi Stowe, just a brutal attacking player. Man, if he wasn't down a pawn with his king in the center of the board, imagine how scary he would be. Wow, self-immolation. Aldi Stowe, the fighting style. Man, you made it kind of interesting there. But it was an uphill battle. Arsenal fan Richie didn't want to play first. Wonder how an 8-game match between Fischer and Carlsen would go. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's not possible, thank God. But Carlsen, not my favorite player. Not exactly. I don't really like him stylistically, you know, and you don't have to be like a barn-burning maniac for me. I like Kramnik, for example, but I just something about Carlsen just doesn't appeal to me. He just seems like a player who's like profited from the fast time controls and kind of like being a really practical, technical player, but I don't really think he plays beautiful chess. Speaking of beautiful chess, parlay my way in there. Aronian is now playing brilliantly in Grenke. You know, a point ahead of Carlsen, and his game is excellent. The last game against now who did he beat? Now he's beating down everybody. D3 Arsenal fan Richie. I mean, you've got to really pull the trigger on E5 and learn to play the main lines, I think. I've been working on it for black, though. The C3 Sicilian with knight F6 again. After quite a break from those lines, I finally decided that we should play knight F6 against the C3 Sicilian. Levon is humble. He's also brilliant. He's also he also has a beautiful style. He plays brilliant chess. He was my pick to actually be the challenger for Carlsen a few years ago. But unfortunately, he seems to stumble every time he plays in one of these candidates tournaments. And I don't know, if it's just bad luck or what it is. But to me, it seems like he's the natural, challenger for Carlsen. And I thought that a long time ago. But he seemed to have a period where he was unmotivated or something, or just a little bit just seemed like he wasn't quite that into it enough, to be 2,800 or whatever. But it seems like he's getting his mojo back a little bit. Arsenal fan Richie has forced me to play some kind of weird position that I don't typically play. I don't really like my knight on B6. But anyway, we'll check this out after the game. It transposed me into something strange here. But anyway, the point is that Aronian is back. It seems like he's really back. And if he's capable of playing the way he's playing this tournament, he's gaining rating points. He's probably going to be higher than Caruana and Anand. Probably the best. I would love to see him play a match with Carlsen. Much, much more serious chance, I think, to beat Carlsen than Karyakin. So, who knows what the future will bring, but I would love to see Aronian play for the World Championship. I think it's something that should have happened already, basically. He's not dealing with the pressure as well as some others. I mean, he's not as much, maybe he doesn't have as much killer instinct. But like Anand, Anand doesn't have much killer instinct, and his raw talent was enough to make him the second best player in the world. Aronian could be pretty much the same. Without having any killer instinct, just being a nice guy, his raw talent is enough. He could just crush people without even really exerting that much energy. Alright, here now. Should I trade this guy on F3? This is sort of a tough call. If I don't play bishop takes F3, how am I going to play this position? Good question. I can play bishop takes F3, knight C4. Doesn't look very inspiring. We can blockade the king side, old school style. It's like a normal Alekhine's defense. I don't know if it's better to take or play bishop H5. Not a whole lot of active counterplay for black in either case. We could play F5 here, anticipating But maybe we have other options. I don't know though, like knight c4. Doesn't feel like I'm developing my pieces if I play something like knight to c4. So, okay, I mean, alright, I mean, So is more dynamic. He's probably the most dynamic player. Yeah, I mean, we can't... He's come a long way in the last year or two. So is now one of the best players in the world. So, yes, his time is coming, and he may also be the other most likely player to take out Carlsen. I like So and Aronian. Kramnik is still strong, but it would be hard for Carlsen to beat Kramnik in a match, but I'm not sure Kramnik could really take out Carlsen. More interesting to watch maybe Aronian or So. I agree with So, though. So is a much more interesting player than Carlsen, for sure. Oh, man, I never have a tactic. He just plays b3. And he's so fast. How is Richie so fast? I was asking this the other day. He just doesn't use any time, practically. 5-3, he's 1700. Man, I'm just like fighting for equality here. Do I have something? Bishop a3. Hey, he made a mistake. I almost didn't see Bishop a3. Wow. Sometimes I just don't look for forced variations, but Rich is playing way too fast. I mean, why is he using just like 1 minute in this position? I think he had a good game. I guess b3 is not necessary. Rook c1, knight c4. Something solid. I don't know. Perhaps queen e2. Okay, it's not so easy for white. Bishop g5 doesn't do anything. I think just it's a planless one-move threat. I can't really back it up. You know, I don't have enough space on that side of the board to operate. I'm very lucky I have this because I thought I was starting to go south in this position. I mean, if I don't have Bishop a3, I don't have any counterplay. And white could stand a little bit better. Now he decided to just sack in exchange, which seems a little bit extreme. Now we just develop as actively as possible with threats of knight takes d4. White played too quick. It's funny to say that in a 5-3 game, but I had already used a lot of time, so he can afford to use time. Plukro, I almost played f6, to be honest with you. So I understand your temptation. A rich, good opening, just played too quickly. Maybe he was a little bit nervous. If you see a .org website, you can be 90% sure it serves something. Free open thing. What does that mean? Is this like a conspiracy theorist or something? Or are you trying to say something legitimate? If you see a .com something, it pretty much means that someone's profiting from it. So, Wesley, let's nail down the C file. For a moment, I thought I was down material. That I was like, wait, I'm up 2 exchanges. I don't really count the material. Oh man, that is an annoying move. Come back here. King hunt. Is that queen trapped, or is it just my imagination? No, Terry's being serious. Comments for commercial, of course. I just didn't understand his wording exactly. Of course it is. Well, I thought everybody knew that. But I guess some people were born yesterday. Uh-oh. Your queen's still trapped, no matter where your king is. Did I have any kind of forced mate? Probably not. Alright, Rich. Too quick this time. Maybe the 5-3 time control. I know, actually, I've seen him play playing some 2-1. No excuses. Someone asked about lichess being free or not. I'm sorry, Tare. I thought you were some kind of conspiracy theorist. I didn't understand exactly where it came from. Of course, yeah. Lichess is free. And that's what I like about it. I mean, I don't like the fact that other chess sites are like profiting small groups of individuals. That's not really cool. Actually, back in the day, I started playing chess on FICS. Before it was FICS. I started playing chess online in around 1990. Well, probably 1992 on Internet Chess Server, which was the first... Well, not the first free chess server. I mean, there was like CompuServe and other places you could play chess, but I was very distraught when the Internet Chess Club was created and separated from ICS, which was the Internet Chess Server. I mean, right then and there, we saw the first example back in 1995 of someone trying to make a profit from online chess and making free chess pay chess, you know, and from the beginning I was offended by that, you know. So I'm glad I'm here on lichess and trying to support a site that is based on not trying to, like, you know, charge people for playing chess. I do recommend everyone, if you can afford it, to support lichess with donations, and support my stream too with PayPal donations. But it's up to you, if you can. Plucro, let's go 5+3, but it's optional, you know. I actually spend more money supporting lichess than I would one of these like pay sites that that wants to take my money, but it's my pleasure to donate to a site like lichess. Plucro, knight to c3, c5. Mule Skinner, remember Nakamura playing on ICC many years ago? I played Nakamura when he was Year of the Rabbit on ICC, probably 15 years ago. I don't think we had that many blitz games. Plucro, what am I playing here? Knight c3, c5. Don't tell me you want to play a Grand Prix attack. Well, against you I don't mind, because you're not like a... You know, dude, you're not a world-class leading expert in the Grand Prix attack. It's particularly annoying when my opponents are like Gawain Jones or something. Yesterday, Mule Skinner followed a Gawain Jones game against me until like move 15 or something, when he missed the key Gawain Jones move, which was like G4, this ultra aggressive sort of plan on the king side. No, I'm speaking Hungarian. Smallville. First he was Year of the Rabbit, and then he was Smallville. He was Smallville for a long time, but I played Hikaru back before Smallville when he was Year of the Rabbit. Oh, it's Tigran Petrosian. Tigran Petrosian the second or something. Well, I didn't mean G4 here, Blue Crow, but that's certainly an interesting move. I didn't mean it right away, but that's cool too. Interesting. Nothing wrong with G4. No, man, I'm sure, I guarantee you 100% when we put this in the encyclopedia or Opening Explorer, it's going to come up with games with G4. 100% guarantee you that this has been played. I mean, it's already played in like some of the main lines. And against A6, which is a kind of inherently slow move, I can 100% guarantee. You know, it's like an extended fianchetto. White's usually playing G3. Why not play G4? It's certainly a move. But I meant later in the game yesterday with Mule Skinner. Around move 15, we were still in following a game. And 92 feels kind of passive, no? Knight f6, knight g3. Whatever. 92 back from c3 feels very passive for white. My friend used to do this in the queen pawn openings. He would play knight c3, knight e2, and knight g3. We called it the Raoul. You're doing a Raoul in a closed Sicilian. That's kind of cool. Playable, I guess. You are white and you have an extra move, but it feels very slow for white. A little bit slow. We do have d5 now. Strike while the iron is hot, as they say. Would be similar to my game from yesterday if I played d5. Alright, let's go for d5. We're going to try to challenge white here. This we're not going to find this position in any previous games now. I mean, knight e2, definitely leaving what little theory there is after g4 probably. I never played Hikaru that many games online. Of course, he played a lot of bullet chess, mostly. There were a few, and I think he won pretty much all of them. A4 on the queen side, my god. That's crazy. I'm going to take your central pawn. You can have that pawn on the queen side. What do you think? Is it risky to sacrifice my b5 pawn here? That feels interesting to me. It's risky to cross the street. That's one of my jokes, but interesting. We could play e3, obviously. I'm going to go for it. I mean, the maneuver knight c3, knight e2, knight g3 in tandem with a4. Does that seem a little strange? Like you move that piece over to the king side, and then you start initiating play on the queen side. That doesn't seem right to me. Like that piece would be useful on c3 in this sort of position, I would think. Blue Crow's just making all kinds of crazy stuff up here. How do you see the chance of Hu Yifan against Aronian? I think, are they playing today? I think that she's getting better. But Aronian, you know, he's not filled with machismo like some other players. You know, he's pretty rational and pretty smart and crafty. I don't think he's going to underestimate Hu Yifan in a way like we saw with Caruana. And and treat her like she's a second-class citizen, and then get his head handed to him. Aronian is a little more mature. I think it's unlikely he'll lose. He'll probably be more careful than some of the other players. A draw is, of course, always a very likely result. But what is going on around here? I mean, seriously. This is some crazy, crazy stuff. Hu Yifan, the way she played against Carlsen was kind of gross, honestly. I mean, she really wanted to force a draw with white, and he kind of let her, she's not like a 2500 who drawing with Carlsen is let's say, the highlight of her career. We all think that she has more potential than that. So for her to play for a draw with white against Carlsen, it's sort of disappointing. I mean, she really should, at this stage in the game, be playing for more than trying to force a draw with the white pieces against Magnus. But it looked like she just prepared it in advance, a way to try to force a draw with white, trade all the pieces. This is just an insane position. Knight takes g4 check. Holy crap. There's a problem with white having bishop b5 check at some point here. I have some crazy moves too. Queen b6 maybe. Knight takes g4 check. Oh my god, I'm gonna lose on time. Maybe I should just take on a6, just to be on the safe side. Blue Crow, this is totally mental what you're doing here. Bishop b5 check. Well, I have to say I didn't see that. Where would you possibly come up with ideas like this? How can he do this? How did he have as much time to do this? Transfer his knight over to the king side and play king f2, and it's all okay? That's crazy. It just feels like now he's developing another piece. It just feels like this shouldn't be happening, I have no idea what that does. Blue Crow only plays with the pieces. He doesn't seem to really care about pawns. I have noticed this. Pawn structure has no meaning to him, unlike most players. Just attacking air. He's attacking air now with 48 seconds. G4 and A4. There's a book by now who is it? Grigorich. I play with pieces or something. There's some book like that. How is it possible for white's position to even make sense here? It's crazy. Great understanding and feel for coordination of the pieces for Blue Crow. But he only plays with pieces. Pawns are the soul of chess. I'm going for extra here. Pawns are the soul of chess. F5. Going directly with my soul. These pawns protect my king, and they're going to take your rook. Alright, more soul to the position. That is a really creative effort by Plucro, though. I haven't really been impressed by Hu Yifan. I think that she's good, but look, I mean, Carlsen let her draw with black, and then like she got lucky against Caruana, who underestimated her. She hasn't done anything that special, but she's getting underestimated still, and now I think we'll see them start to bear down, you know, and it would be very interesting to see how she does in the second half of the tournament, because I feel like she was a little bit lucky with that win against Caruana, who really treated her like she, you know, she was an easy point or something. So maybe after that, the other players will kind of take her more seriously, and we'll see how the final tally adds up. Dumb Saint, Mule Skinner, World Loser, Ghost Mind, Troll on a Roll is trying to re-challenge me, Troll, but I don't think we're gonna have time for a second game. We've got a hard time playing all the challengers we've got here. Dumb Saint, let's play E4. Been playing a lot of D4. Sorry, I misquoted Gligorich's book. Okay, it's I Play Against the Pieces. So I like that. I'm down with Korchnoi, you know, and he was very much into pawns and piece and pawn coordination. And I think that the more people play with computers and learn by playing computers, it feels like they move away from understanding, in many cases, pawn coordination and using the pawns. You never see a computer play like a Korchnoi style game, really, like with white in English, where every single pawn moves, and it's another type of chess, you know, that really is kind of getting forgotten in the computer age. But computers try to avoid making any kind of pawn weaknesses. I just noticed that about Plucro, that he really is excellent with coordinating his pieces, but sometimes the pawns are important too. Dumb Saint. Okay, this is a blitz game. I've got to play a little bit faster. I decided to play F4. This was recommended by John Nunn in a series of books he had in the 90s called Beating the Sicilians. And this was his main system recommending against the Najdorf, which was interesting because Nunn is a Najdorf player, you know, so you've got to take his recommendation very seriously. But I've noticed that this variation is kind of out of fashion, and has been out of fashion really in the last 15 years or so, which is, I think, you know, something good to play, something that's out of fashion but has a lot of inherent value. So try to find variations. I try to find variations that are underestimated or kind of have fallen out of use. Sheppy says, I don't really like the F4 line. What I like about it is the fact that it's not trendy, Sheppy, and in that we find some value. And then here we can transpose to a normal Scheveningen, or we could try for more if you want to, with like a sharp move like Queen F3. All right, let's try to play a normal Scheveningen. I don't know the theory that well. Popular in the 90s, 80s and 90s, and it started to go out of fashion, I guess, in the 21st century. But it's certainly, I think, an interesting line, you know. But anything that's not the focus of trend and theory is probably a good place to go, you know, to win games. People aren't looking at it, you know, and they've forgotten how to play against it. Queen c7 looks like a standard move. Black has a number of ways to play. He can try to transpose to a normal Scheveningen. Well, this is now. He's played e6, but he doesn't have to play bishop e7. Black can also play like g6 and type of what I would call, I'm going to play a4. What I would call the Dragendorf, right? Like things like g6 and a6. Now, knight c6, king h1. There's so many moves for white here. It's a main line. He has played an early a6, queen c7. There are other setups where black delays a6 in the Scheveningen, but this seems like definitely a main line. King h1 is almost always a useful move. Now black has some choices. I guess rook e8. Rook e8 is probably the main move there. Bishop d7 is okay. And now we could choose between queen e1 and knight b3. Knight b3 preparing a5. With the bishop on d7, oftentimes it's best to play knight b3. And he walked into this kind of trick. You know, bishop b6. So black should really play b6, stopping a5, or knight a5, stopping a5. One way or the other. Black should really stop a5 there. Now he loses the exchange. So it was really the worst possible continuation for black. I mean, I'm sure that both b6 and knight a5 are theory. And this is just a catastrophic loss of the exchange. Now, on the other hand, I have to be a little bit careful because I've given up a valuable dark square bishop, but still, he doesn't have any kind of really coherent compensation for this. Just in exchange for basically nothing. Still, we've got to make moves. We've got to be careful of the dark squares opening up. Trade pieces, ideally, I guess. He's got queen a7, bringing his queen in the game. That's a little bit annoying. Queen e1. Queen e1, queen f2. I don't know. I wouldn't mind trading queens to sum up the exchange. That's a deep idea. Guys, I will do a simul on Sunday night. It'll be 6:30 p.m. CET, Central European Time. 22 players probably. I have a tournament game in the morning. Bishop d7 is not great, but it's a move. I think rook e8 is the main line in this position. I think it's rook e8. So knight b4. And now how to defend bishop d3. I don't know, bishop d3 will make my b3 knight loose in some lines where he takes on d3. My other alternatives aren't very pleasant. Queen d2. Well, queen d2's funny to move the queen again, actually. Black's ready to play d5. Alright, whatever. My knight's not hanging yet. We just have to be aware that it might be later. I don't mind trading bishop for knight. It's kind of standard exchange in this kind of position anyway, where I'm not up the exchange. Generally the active knight, if the structure is closed, this bishop is a good trade for that knight on b4. My bad bishop, so to speak. My other bishop, my good bishop, is gone. It's worth a rook though. Black has to prove something here. Now if d5, e5, so d5 isn't that great for black. I expected him to play b6. He opted not to do that right away. Piling up on the c file. I don't really have any tactical tricks. My best attacking piece is sort of traded off the dark squared bishop. So no rook a4. No good way to exploit the knight on b4 here. Looks like I just have to kind of bear down. Queen d2, d5, e5, knight e4. What do I do? Queen e2. I don't really have a plan in this position. I hate playing queen e2. His knight was loose on b4. I'm protecting c2 with this move. Seems like a strange thing to do, but I didn't really have a clear plan. Hard to make progress. Maybe e5 at some point. That's very risky though. Alright, now things are going to change a little bit. My idea was to stop knight e4 first of all. French defense position. Alright, try to get some attack, direct attack. e6, anybody? That's got to be good. Unfortunately, I'm still not winning by force. It looks like I should have a strong attack here, though. All right. What's the big idea here? I don't really know. Knight d3. He's pretty fast. Oh no. Oh, I have this. All right, dumb saint. Well, you were actually hanging in there pretty well, being down a clear exchange until the very end. Here it's not good. Prior to that, allowing e6 was the real mistake here. It's not so bad. So playing d5, you kind of blinked first with d5. And after that, looks like I have a really good game. Well, the knight e4 is a better try. Knight e4, take, bishop takes. I guess you you have this trick. Ouch. I did not see that. Whoa. And you lose a pawn. You win back the exchange for a pawn with this move. That would have given you pretty good chances. Okay, Mule Skinner I didn't play already. So d5 wasn't a problem. It was knight d7. Here I thought I was stopping knight e4 by piling everything up on e1, e2. But he has it anyway. Knight to e4 is the best move, giving black pretty good counterplay. I can't bear to play another Grand Prix attack. I'm going to play b6. If you play a player like Mule Skinner who likes closed positions, I'm just thinking like he's going to do it anyway. This is ridiculous. All right, f4 against the Owens defense. f4 against everything. Well, it's not ridiculous. I'm just bemoaning my fate here. All right. This is the only thing he plays against every opening, pretty much. Double fianchetto. Objectively, white should play d4 there, I guess. But d3 is okay. Hippopotamus. We're going to play a hippopotamus, and you know, c5 we hold in reserve. It's a hyper accelerated Sicilian. I mean delayed. g4, the move of the day. Well, I didn't castle yet. I could actually play h5 here. I think I should consider h5. Locking the king side. Not sure. All right, I'm going to hold off on h5. I think that in reality, I mean h5's, it's like doing a5 in a King's Indian attack. I'm probably weakening myself on his strong side. If I play h5, it might make it easier for him to play like g5, f5 later on. Someone said Ginger GM, yeah. Bishop e2, blunder knight. e4, c5, bishop e2. Right. Well, I mean, there are a lot of setups with d3 and bishop e2. That's pretty well known. It'll probably transpose to something like that. So here, it's not technically a Sicilian. If I do the simple hippopotamus, like say d6, it's kind of weird to do the hippopotamus if white hasn't played the full center with like d4. Both sides are avoiding confrontation. I could also play d5 here. I don't think I'm in love with it. All right, let's go with the hippo. Strange banging outside, like someone's doing some construction. Probably my downstairs neighbor, occasionally doing home renovation. All right, d6, knight d7. Maybe we'll castle queenside. Bishop d2. This feels like a routine move. It's my last chance to play the closed Sicilian. How's this variation? This looks pretty good, though. I mean, if I do c5, bishop d2 feels fairly passive. My last chance to turn it into a Sicilian. Alright, let's go for it. And bishop d2 looks like a passive move. So, it is a Sicilian finally. It seems sort of silly not to play c5, honestly. At that stage. Now, Mule Skinner did a very strange thing against me in another game where he was black, where he castled queenside in a position that's just totally strange to do that. He could consider that here as well, but I really don't think it's objectively correct to castle queenside. The king is actually safer for him on the king side. But you could see that. You could see that happen. Now, f5 has to be kept under careful observation. Lobstervation. If I castle f5, I can also play knight to d4. We'll wait one more move before we commit ourselves to castling kingside. If castle's f5, black can usually just take. Yeah, I mean, if Foy plays f5, I'm just going to take on f5. I don't think he really has anything convincing there. It's not like a Grand Prix attack where his bishop's on c4, bearing down, excuse me. His bishop's on c4, and I can't draw an arrow. Man, that's starting to irritate me. The bishop on c4, bearing down on that diagonal, makes f5 type ideas much, much more dangerous. You know, I'm here without a bishop on c4. I just don't think f5 is going to cut it for white. I want to protect e6. And then we play f5. Take, take. White's coordination is excellent with the pieces. He plays the same setup over and over and over again. I would get bored, honestly, with doing the same thing. It's like some people play the London system every game with white. There are a couple guys that would do that against me. Stephen Muhammad and Cyrus Lakdawala. Two IMs from the United States who are good blitz players, but they would play the London system every single game. I mean, I don't think a title player, you know, really is going to learn too much by playing the same opening again and again every single game. I can understand for a period of time, like 6 months or, you know, a year maybe, but for your whole career to just like play the same opening over and over again, you know, that doesn't lend itself to a player becoming very creative. Yes, knight g5. Thematic response. He's a dangerous player. I've been scoring very badly against him. If you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Over the last 9 games, he has 4 points against me. That's half of his score. So his score increased, you know, he has 8 points, and 4 of them are in the last 9 games. So he became a lot stronger, it appears. Now, I could take with the knight. That allows a queen check, though. So I don't think That's for the best. But this actually looks pretty good. I think I'm very compact here. He actually has the worst bishop, and his pawn structure is bad if he takes on f5. His king might be a little more exposed than mine. Yesterday we had a really abstract game in an entirely closed, locked board. I offered a draw. I was probably slightly worse by then, but the position was just insipidly locked. Queen f3, and I think maybe I shouldn't trade queens. But actually, why wouldn't I trade queens? If I take on f3, he takes with the rook. I take with the pawn. He's got a tactic based on rook e3. That's pretty impressive. We get rid of his knight. What happened? c4. Just forgot about his g4 pawn. I'm going to leave the knight on g5. As scary as he might seem, I'm keeping this key pawn. Yeah. Dangerous player, very tricky. Maybe we go with this. Where am I going? I just keep missing moves against Mule Skinner. Oh man, he finally blundered. That was crazy. I don't even know if I'm even that much better here. Look, even in this final position, I'm only equal. Yeah, so much compensation. It's pretty impressive. I have so many challenges, guys. We can't play all these games. We're only going to play like 3 or 4 more. What's the best way to improve if you're a total beginner? Well, I mean, I think you need to combine playing and studying. You know, that's the most important thing. Try to find someone who's like your level or a little bit better. That's really, I think that was the biggest secret for me improving in chess. Having a really close friend who was better than me, but still close enough level that he kind of pushed me to get better. I never really talked too much about it, but having a training partner, kind of like, who's a little better than you, that's kind of unknown secret of mine to improve. But you need to play. That goes, you know. Did I make a mistake here? Well, Not really. This is a position. I don't know. I think you should play d4 there, world loser. d4. But the way you played it is okay. I think it was more incisive to play d4. But getting some... If you're an absolute beginner, like you don't know how the pieces move, or you know, they're different relative levels of beginner, obviously. I recommend classical chess books rather than gimmicky ones, and playing, but trying to play longer games, not just getting hooked on really fast blitz. What I'm playing today is really fast. I mean, for an amateur player, 5+3, I think this is a fairly fast time control. All right, now maybe once I had this before against world loser. It's probably more critical to play d4 in this position, but I want to keep some tension in the position. Did you guys see the Aronian game against great game yesterday? Insane game against Nidich, where Aronian just kept the pressure on him right out of the opening. He had caught him in some sort of preparation and just kept pressure on him the whole game till he gave up. Okay, world loser is really fast. All right. Objectively, this position is about equal, and that's sort of par for the course when you play a flank opening like c4, knight f3. I think that you can't really... Wow. Didn't expect b5, but okay. He finds such good moves so quickly against me. World loser really playing the opening like a GM here. Perfect execution. Now bishop d6 is a bit strange. I'm not sure I have anything special against it, come to think of it. This sort of reminded me of Aronian's game yesterday with Nidich. That's why I brought it up. Similar line. How quickly he's playing here. I don't seem to have any advantage. Knight e4. It's not a good situation for me there. Nothing. No advantage at all. I'm not sure about this exchange. Straight out of Aronian versus Nidich. Now he takes with the pawn. I expected bishop takes. He takes with the pawn instead. Wow. Okay, this is going to be complicated now. Trying to break up his pawn structure. He's a minute ahead on the clock. Playing so well. Really master strength play by world loser. He's up to 2100 now. I don't know if that's a record for him, but he's probably been higher. I don't know. Played this extremely well. It's so fast too. His precision is very high. All right, let's keep it loose here and try to play very carefully. I mean, he's got a protected, what's almost practically a protected pass pawn on c4. This is very dangerous for me. I'm playing a dangerous game, essentially. But there's imbalance in the position. I could have played e3, but it weakens my structure. There is imbalance in this position. So there's some tension that's hard to resolve. You know, his bishop is bad on b7, blocked. Nice arrow. Man, I can't. Now he plays 95, another good move. Damn. If I take on e5, bishop takes e5, take on c4. Notice how this is protected too. It's like ridiculous, dude. I can't do anything against him. He's drawn the last 4 games against me. In the last 8 games, he has 1, 2, 3.5 points out of 8. Talk about good recent results. He's becoming I am strength. The knight's just too strong there. I'm really now I can take on c4, but it's really risky. Probably the best though. He doesn't have d takes with no protected passed pawn now for him. So we don't want to allow him to play d4. I guess black is slightly better with his passed pawn. I'm not really sure though. We do have a queenside majority. And now we can blockade. With a blockade, white could even be better. Blockade an outside, a further outside pawn. So I feel very lucky to have gotten this far. Guys, we have time for probably 2 more games at the most today. I have a YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. Thanks for posting that, Blue Crow. I do upload all the streams I play, and also once a week I try to add an instructional video of some independent value. Probably tomorrow I'll add a new video to the site, to the channel. So now we have an ending. We need to blockade. We were not threatening anything immediate there. Okay. This is the problem for me now. His king gets active. I need to get my king active too. He's putting another pawn on the wrong color. That's sort of strange in a way for black to put pawns on white squares here. I want my king to relieve my rook. My rook is unable to play actively if it has to perform this task of blockading this pawn. So this is about trading places, basically. Black's been better pretty much the last 20 moves. I have e4, but that's kind of dangerous. I have rook takes c4. accidental tactic. I almost didn't see it. I'm not used to World Loser making mistakes. He's played so well in recent games. I just dropped a piece. Wow. All right. I knew there was something strange going on there that I was missing because he doesn't make mistakes. Yeah, I was worse the whole game, it looks like. Basically flawless by black. I hallucinated here. I think the d4 here would be black's best. But it's a matter of taste. No games found. Now watch the advantage shift for black here. There's one game with b4. Now he just gets the advantage. He's just better. I don't think the advantage will shift back my way. World Loser. Lucky there that I dropped a piece. I felt uncomfortable here that I'm slightly worse. Engine says I'm not, but I kind of think in a practical game, black I would prefer to play black here. And I shouldn't lose, obviously, here, but winning is a very difficult task. Now his king comes to the center. 0 accuracies, 0 inaccuracies, 0 mistakes, 0 blunders. Which seems to be... I knew there was something wrong. I knew he wouldn't blunder ever. He's playing too well. That was just such a funny optical illusion. I'm glad I didn't look at the chat there. I don't agree with Sheppy about black not trading queens. I think trading queens was fine for black. I mean, black's absolutely never in any trouble here with his king coming to the center. If I have to choose, I think I'd rather be black here. White is cramped. Bishop c6 is an excellent move. It's actually number 1. Number 2 engine move. G6, G5. I wouldn't know. This is a draw, and white has to be careful, like, not to be worse in this position, I think. I don't think that trading queens is anything bad at all for black. I think it's totally fine. Even though he has a lot of pawns on the white squares, his king is so active, and he has a protected passed pawn. I'm actually in danger of him potentially playing a5 at some point, opening up the queen side, and bishop c6 is a great move, stopping me from playing a4, setting up a5. I think white has to be careful here, not to be worse. So it says he made it in accuracy. I don't know, man. What inaccuracy? Move 1 or something? Yeah, c5 inaccuracy. The computer always says this, like 1 g6 was an inaccuracy. I mean, give me a break. Ghost Mind. So no way I'm gonna finish the day without losing. I dropped a piece there that was funny. I didn't even think about the fact that my bishop was hanging on g2. Alright, let's play knight f6. I can play g6 later. This is a strange opening. White is playing a kind of Borisov with knight e3. Yeah, this is the Raoul I was talking about earlier. It's like a more traditional Raoul. That's the real Raoul. Absolutely. Let's just develop. Yeah, I don't think the practical chances are really different with queens on or queen off there. It's not a position where he's going to checkmate me with the queens on the board. It's a technical ending. It's really about pawn structure. But objectively, the game is equal in either case. But I think that white has to be more careful than black. I think the computer actually liked the trade of queens. Well, we'll just play centrally. Now that he's played d3, I should definitely play d5. And the knight on g3, I think typically we're going to exploit that with h5 in a lot of positions. It's just that with the other knight coming to g5, I do have to be a little bit careful about that. Giving him the g5 square. Just play double fianchetto here. I'm not committing to castling kingside. Ghostmine's playing too fast. I try to tell people not to do that, but they rarely listen to me, you know. People seem to want to play against me, but they don't want to listen. And I think that you should use your time. Okay, it's only move 7, so knight back to e2, not making a lot of sense. And now I'm going to castle. White's basically just wasted a lot of time. Now black has a clear advantage in terms of development. c3, this is totally weakening the white squares. So it looks like black has a very clear way to open it up with like e5, e4. You could even play bishop a6. That walks into queen a4. Kind of better to just play e5, e4. White square weaknesses in white's position look really silly. I don't know. It's just he's making random moves almost. Knight e2, knight back to g3, knight e2, knight back to g3. Doesn't seem serious. h5 now. Could start to consider that. Maybe e4. The problem is if I play e4, how many times can I protect it? It's very strange. Like e4, pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn. Maybe we could sack a pawn with e4. And go for some attack. If I let him play e4, it's going to be hard to break through. Well, this is interesting. Let's try to sacrifice a pawn to open the position. He's not developed. If I lose my e-pawn, I'll have tons of compensation in terms of white squares. And I think I want to strike before he has time to play e4 in this position and sort of block the position. That's just a ridiculous move. And white has to play pawn takes pawn, knight to g5, hitting e4 twice, with ideas of queen a4, which will hit the knight on c6 and hit the pawn on e4. You know, I'm trying to give him a pawn here. And he needs to take it, I think. Now both takes and knight e5 look good. Which is better, objectively? Opening the game, but it also develops a piece for him. Now I can consider d4, trying to blast open the position. Maybe now, maybe next move. We don't want him to blockade, lock the center. But I think at this point we have a massive advantage now. If we avoid too much simplification and also trap his king in the center. Uh-oh, that looks good. I expected bishop e2 by white there. And this way he cannot castle. I also still have h5, h4, hitting that knight on g3. Well, now he can castle with that idea. Okay. Right, so h5 is timely. Any kind of move he makes here. I could have also played knight d3 check, obviously. But it doesn't feel as dynamic as playing h5, h4, h3. Usually this is the way to exploit a knight on g6 or g3 early in the Dunst opening, for example. Now his knight has to go to h1. Then we have h3, forcing tremendous weaknesses in his king side. Just randomly sacrifices a piece without justification. Okay. Yeah, I guess knight e4. Putting up my queen. Playing for some attack, attack here, obviously. This is crazy for white to sacrifice a piece. But anyway, it was getting ugly after h3. Threats of knight f3 check. White's play is really fundamentally flawed. I mean, you're wasting too much time moving the same pieces back and forth, and then sacrificing a piece without real justification. Rook e1. It looks like a tactical study position. Last game against World Loser, I totally hung a piece. Didn't see it at all till the computer pointed it out. We have knight f3 check. Ooh, this is pretty deadly. No mate. Not yet, at least. He's gonna have to lose his queen. This is fun. One more game, guys. I don't want to end it on a one-sided game. So we're gonna play one more game after this. I don't know who it is. Still, we're not done though. It's gonna take as much material. There's no mate for me, unfortunately. Take as much material as we can get, I guess. Yeah, we'll take another pawn. Then we'll take the rook. Then we'll try to open up the position. For the two Bs. Shouldn't last too much longer. Last game is not troll in a roll, because we already played you troll, not C, C-E-T-S. I guess we'll have to play Anto Johnson. I don't know. Nobody's challenging me to the right time control. We've got a 4+3 challenge, an 8+3 challenge. Troll in the roll, the second game. Maybe I'll play Anto Johnson. One last game. Challenge me to 5+3, which is the time control for today. Yeah, Ghostmine never resigns. Well, he does sometimes. It's very rare. I think last game he resigned prior to mate. This case. In the old days, the master said you were supposed to checkmate with the lowest form of material. So instead of checking with the queen on d5, I'm supposed to give mate with the rook, according to classical Romantic chess. The classical Romantic chess school. Mate with the lowest form of material. If you have a pawn, then you should give mate with the pawn. I don't know, a lot of you guys probably never heard of that, but he's not resigning. It's mate in 1. Bishop d7 only move. I guess I should have given mate with the queen, though. That was mate in 1. I guess it doesn't apply. Yeah, if I just didn't realize it was mate in 1, honestly. I would have done it, but I did not see it was mate in 1. For some reason, I thought he had a move there. He's not gonna resign. He's going to lose on time with mate in 1. That's cool. That's kind of bad etiquette, but I didn't mean to not checkmate him in 1. I have a lot of people who do this in blitz games, by the way. If anybody does that to me in a blitz game where they let their flag run out, I'm going to put them on my banned list of players I will not, deal with. So this is very bad form by Ghostmind to let his flag run out in a stream like this. Not cool, dude. Maybe he got disconnected. But normally when that happens, you get a message here. This is not really nice. Wasting our time. That's very bad etiquette. I don't think we'll play that player anymore after that game. So, Anto Johnson, last game for today. Yeah, I will not play any more games with that opponent. It's totally bad. I mean, even in a tournament, it's bad. But in a stream game, when I'm trying to play other players, it's just really selfish to let your time run out and waste our time. I mean, the thing is, if he got disconnected, it would show, like player claim victory or claim a draw. That's the options that lichess usually gives you. Here, this position, Anto Johnson, maybe I should play d4. I'm not sure. The ban ignore setting will be activated. Yeah. I don't like to do it to people that are watching the stream, but I mean, random people I play on blitz tournaments who are just bad sports, I don't mind banning them. I mean, I hate to ban someone who's like a viewer on my stream. But it's just very strange behavior from this guy, Of course I have banned some people, random people, who just do that. They let your clock run for like 5 minutes in a 10-minute classical game where they're one move away from mate. You'll instantly get banned by me for that. Of course, it's horrendous. In this case, it was just 1 minute. I had to wait, so it wasn't too bad. But I could have ended the game one move earlier, but I literally didn't see it was mate in 1. For some reason, I thought they were both mate in 2. Rook d8 and queen d5. Really Not Bob. We have a couple of Bobs. Sideshow Bob and Really Not Bob. People get I mean, okay, what are the statistical chances? He just happened to get called away from the keyboard. 1 move away from mate. I mean, yes, of course. Of course that's true, but I mean, let's think about it now, If you want to think about it, the chances are pretty likely he was just angry and wanted to waste a minute of my life, basically. It's yeah. If it was 3 moves away from mate, it would still be suspicious, but right there, I mean, that's usually the case. Flagging is legal. But I also, I don't like to flag people who get disconnected if it's during a stream or actually any time. I mean, I kind of wait for them to come back in most cases. I don't rush and hit the flag button. But if it's like an arena tournament here on lichess where you need your time, it's really bad form to do that, to let your flag run out. I might let my flag run out in a depressing position where I have 20 seconds left or something, just for fun, but I would never waste a minute of someone's time. All right, Anto Johnson's wasting time himself, moving the queen several times here without any real plan. This looks good for white. Better pawn structure. Central pawn's very powerful. Bishop's on the long diagonal. Typical problem with this bishop, the queen's bishop. Yeah, he's wasting more time now. He doesn't know what to do. It's not an easy position for black. I mean, it's true. It's hard to find a plan here, I think, for black. Maybe rook e1, queen d2. Maybe I should play d5 and stop farting around, basically. I've waited long enough, and I think d5 is correct. Yeah. You got to watch out for tactics like knight e5, queen d2, bishop takes h3. That's a classic in this kind of structure. With the queen on d2, I can get forked by knight f3. Of course, here knight e5, I could always just play f4 in some positions. Now white has a pretty massive space advantage. There's the the square in question. Queen d2, connecting my rooks. You know, I'm not sure about rook fe1. It might be better to bring the other rook across, you know, and play like for f4, depending on the situation. I'm actually not a Bob. Yeah, well, that's what it says. Really not Bob. Are you related to Sideshow Bob? Could be like Sideshow Bob's friend, and that's why you're really not Bob. You're really Bob's friend. I'm getting a little bit bored, guys. It's time to end the stream, but I've got to finish this last game. A lot of pressure here. I want to build up the pressure. It's not going to be easy to take him out, you know, unless I advance. But we've got to do it in a very controlled sort of way. All right. Good square for the knight. You know, typically black will try to get some counterplay with a6, b5 in this sort of structure. But he doesn't have great control of b5 yet, and he also opens up sometimes the possibility of that knight going to c6. If he plays for b5 in such a structure with the support of my bishop, I can get a knight to c6, which can be very catastrophic for black. But first of all, let's play rook c1. Kind of eyeing his queen along the file. Discouraging b5. I don't know. I mean, this is kind of routine move, but we need to play something. White has a massive space advantage. His knight can't move. That's a big problem. I think a4 here. Is he threatening b5 now? Well, I mean, I still think that knight c6 would be very strong in the event of that, but I probably am justified in playing a4, stopping b5 directly. Play one more. No, sorry, man. I'm really busy. I have to start working on videos, and everybody's like, play one more, play one more. I know. I'm starting to fade though. I hung a piece against World Loser. I get a little groggy after a while. I'll be back on Sunday for a simul here on lichess, and then from Monday through Friday next week, streaming again. The sun is in my eyes here. Let me move the webcam. That makes it worse. Whoa, just got worse. It's very strange that there's sun at all. It's supposed to be raining constantly. Oh my God, I just realized what he's up to here. I've got to be very careful. He has rook a2 and knight g4 threats. You know, rook a2, rook takes b2, queen takes b2, knight g4 check. So be careful. Oh, he didn't do it. That was a surprise. I thought he would play for his big tactical chance there. Sorry about the webcam, guys. The sun is not usually such an issue when it's raining every day. But We suddenly have good weather today. We'll adapt to the situation. Start randomizing the challenges list. Do I play bullet? I don't play much bullet. I don't play any bullet nowadays. I mean, there was a time when I would occasionally play bullet when I was bored, but I really want to improve my game, you know, and I don't think that bullet is the way to do that. I'm not getting any younger, so I don't have too much time to waste in terms of getting better at chess. I want to maximize my ability to improve. All right, let's get this thing on the road. Get the sideshow Bob on the road here. Bishop c3. Ooh, he's getting some counterplay now. I'm not real happy about this. Maybe queen b3. I could also take with the bishop. I don't think the a file is all that critical here. Probably doesn't matter. I'm obviously threatening rook a7. He wasn't looking forward to that, understandably. And now f4. He's sort of just hanging in there, you know. Maybe I should trade queens. Oh man, this was a really marginal idea to do this. Bishop takes. He has knight b6. So he finds this. Very possible this is a draw. Anto Johnson using the increment really well. Although I said it's possible this is a draw, I mean it's still, there's a lot of play left in the position, so ops-colored bishops should give me some chances. e5. Well, that seems risky for him. Playing so well in the increment. On the increment. What am I supposed to do here? Oh man. Okay, we have to play this perfectly. Two connected passed pawns. Aronian style. Yesterday's game was a masterpiece. Right. And now bishop h3. Not the only move. Defending so well. This is probably a spot where he had bishop takes f4 or knight takes d5. I had the feeling I'd be doing like a bishop and knight checkmate or something. mean, I may still be doing one. No, I guess not. Andrew Johnson faltered there. He was really close to a draw. I would be surprised if that was a draw. There's probably ways that Black would have held that with perfect play. He came really close. I gotta go, guys. It's 10 minutes over here, but let's just look at this ending. Where did Black foul it up? Was he ever drawing? Not clear. I didn't like h4. The computer thinks I'm probably winning here. I guess it wasn't easy. Right around here, G takes f4. He's supposed to play knight a4 and stop me from playing c5. This apparently, knight d7 runs into bishop h3, but knight a4 would have been difficult. All right, guys, I'm gonna have to cancel these other challenges. Sorry, I can't keep playing all day, but that's it for today. I get like 10 games in. Often go over that in a number of challenges at some point during the stream. So we will be back Sunday with the simul here on lichess at 6:30 p.m. for 20 plus players, and I'm back next week Monday to Friday with more classical and blitz chess. Monday classical chess. So thanks for joining me. Thanks Blue Crow for moderating. We've got 86 viewers today. Very good, guys. Thanks for all the interesting games. And don't forget to check out the YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. Thanks for those of you guys who have donated, guys and girls who have donated to the stream on my YouTube channel via PayPal. Thank you for the support. Bye-bye.